would love to know what our listeners have taken from our conversation. Because what I took from is everything related to sacred space. I feel that sacred space is what we shared is a feeling. It's a feeling when you're so much at ease and comfort and serenity and the feeling that I feel that is what defines love, and that's what defines sacred. Welcome to Co-Creative Conversations with Co-Creator Circle. Here we meet to ignite inspirations, not only with our listeners, but also within ourselves. Today, I'm in conversation with Heike Christel, and let's see where the conversation takes us. We're trying this new thing, wonderful thing out, in which we're each going to just ask questions of each other. But I know that in the end, it's all going to come together for you, the listener, because one of the main things we're going to talk about is what is sacred space. We're going to start with that. So, Heike, would you like to start with introducing yourself?
Yes, of course. Hello, everybody. Hello, Meenakshi. Thank you for inviting me. I am Heike Christel, and I'm from Germany. I'm a naturopath, and I work with Qigong and Tai Chi. I'm a therapist for Reiki and Sujok. I do coachings, shamanic coachings, and also Qigong coachings. Yeah, I have a wide field of healing techniques. So yeah, let's see how it works out today, and maybe you can get to know me better after today.
Yeah, that's true. You're right, because when we have to introduce ourselves, we don't know which aspect of ourselves to introduce, how much or how little to say. And it's from what we speak and what we discuss that actually we get to know one another. But as you introduced yourself, I realized I should introduce myself. I'm Meenakshi. I always introduce myself as the founder of CoCreator Circle, which is a place for bringing together all the gems that are shining in our world today. And these gems are not only the people who are speaking in the podcast, but also you, the listener who's listening. Because I know that all of us attract those of like vibe, of like vibration. Because one of my favorite sayings that I like to say is that we don't have to be like-minded, but we can just vibrate harmoniously together. We have to be open to doing that. And I'm originally from India, as you could probably sense from my accent. I live in Miami, Florida, USA. And I've lived in many different countries in the world, met people from many countries, studied many things, and I'm constantly learning. And so, Heike, do you want to start with a question, which, since you posed it first, I'd like you to ask that.
Yes, my first question is, how do you create sacred space?
So I'm thinking of this question, and what comes to my mind is, what is sacred space? I know what it is. I can feel it. But to speak about it, I said, let me look at the dictionary. And then I said, what is it in English, but what is it in Hindi? And I realized that none of those really resonated with me. What I saw, the etymology of the word is the word sacred comes from mostly from religion, you know, And religion is something, again, very difficult to define. For me, sacred is beyond religion. Sacred is something that brings us very close to who we really are. From my upbringing and my background and my sensing, I feel that everything around us is sacred. So when we think about how do we create that sacred space, to me, it means how do we become aware that everything around us is sacred? How do we become aware that within and without, this is a very high vibration space. So how do we create it? By becoming aware. And to become aware, it matters what we do physically. So sometimes it is just by a fragrance. Maybe it is an incense or some other a high vibratory plant that we may burn. And sometimes it is literally just by our being in a place which could be either a religious place, and it doesn't have to be a religion you're born to. You go to, and sometimes I have felt it when I'm driving and I reach and I feel, wow, I feel I'm in another reality and I feel that deep sense of sacred. So actually, I feel that the creation really is dependent on awakening to a certain vibration. How about you?
Well, like in my trainings, the shamanic trainings, this is something they teach you just from the beginning. And I was also thinking about it. And I remembered when I was a child visiting my grandma. She knew how to create sacred space because she was awaiting me. She prepared my favorite dish and she was waiting with a smile, open heart, and, welcoming me, embracing me. And she would ask me, "How do you feel?" And she was really with me. I mean, she didn't interrupt me. She listened with an open heart. And she saw me already as a whole, perfect, the way I am. She wouldn't criticize, you know? She created this place where I could be so the way I am, authentic. I didn't need to hide something from me. And it was like I felt everything was so easy with her. And when I was in the teaching, in the shamanic teaching, and they told us just step out of the ordinary, step out of time, step out of the place you are, and just start to really feel, be aware with your inner tools. And then, of course, connect yourself. Connect yourself with the elements of nature. So you are calling upon the elements, the four winds, and you call upon Mother Earth and also upon Spirit. And you call upon them and be grateful for their appearance, and you connect. And that is what my grandma did. She connected. She was a person who prayed a lot. She believed in God, in spirit. And she was a person who was daily grateful to have enough to eat because, after the war, it was not easy. And so she gave thanks to it each day. And yeah, she is like an idol for me. And now when I'm teaching Qigong, I create sacred space for my for the clients, for the people who come. And maybe I can do like a guided meditation if you like.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay.
Okay.
So everybody just find a place where you can sit comfortably. And then you just start to relax and you tune into your breath, into your rhythm. You breathe in and out just at your pace. And you might close your eyes. And you come with your attention to your feet and to your sit bones, your tailbone. And like a tree, you start to grow your roots into Mother Earth. You connect. Let the roots grow bigger. And like a tree, you feel nourished. You feel the stability. You are carried by Mother Earth. And with each out breath, you can let go of everything you don't need right now. It's like you give everything to compost to Mother Earth with each out breath. Just breathe out everything you don't need anymore. And while this is going on, you can go with your attention up through your body to the highest point of your head. And there you might feel a connection up, going up into the sky, into the heaven, maybe to the universe, to the sun. And maybe you can feel while your head is pulled lightly up. So it seems like your head is just floating in the sky. You are opening up to the universe, to the sun. And the sun is sending the light, little smiling particles floating down through this connection into your head. A bright white light cleansing everything in your body. It's like taking a sun shower. And everything what is dark and heavy, useless, is cleansed out. It's just washed out of your body. Down to Mother Earth, to compost. And you can feel this fresh, new, pure energy in your body, filling you up. Each cell of your body is shining with these bright particles of light, filling you up. And while this is going on, you connect with your heart and let a little sparkle ignite in your heart, a sparkle of love, and let it grow wider and wider and bigger, filling up your whole entire heart. A sparkle of love, a sparkle of thankfulness, a sparkle of compassion, filling up the entire body and out over the borders of your body, spreading out. And you can feel it maybe, that you start to smile. You can feel it, your mouth, your face is smiling, your eyes, the entire body. And then take another deep breath. And once more a nice deep breath. And then come back to where you sit. And at your pace, you might open your eyes.
That was beautiful. I'm sure that our listeners also felt and are still feeling that space that you guided us into. You know, Heike, I also want to share one thing about when we guide meditations. One of the things which happens in circles is that when we ask people to share, how do you feel? It's very difficult for them to say because either they are still in that space or some of them say, oh, but I went to sleep. But that sleep is not the same sleep as the sleep at night, because the moment you stop speaking, the guide stops speaking, the person can come back. And others say, oh, I listened to your words, but I didn't really hear what you were saying. I had my own experience. And I think all these are the different ways in which to respond in a time of guided meditation. So when you were asking how do you create sacred space, when I guide a meditation, this is how I feel we are creating the space. Sometimes our voice is just like a thread that connects the listener to their own essence. Just like at first from our navel, we were connected with our Earth Mother. And just as the golden cord connects us to our essence, the higher being that we are, the wholeness that we are, the physical, the mental, the emotional, the wholeness, as you were also referencing, or how we are connected with Mother Earth. And this connection is what is important, because I remember once asking one of the guides who was guiding us into a meditation, why do we have to come back in 20 minutes? I want to stay in that space. And she said, but who is in charge? And this is important because we are walking this earth walk for a reason. we know that our essence is that soul, and that is the sacred space that we want to just stay in. But we have, for some reason, decided to walk this earth in a physical way. And so it's important to come back. And sometimes I've had people in the group who aren't able to come back. So then, as the guide, you're holding the space for them and you stay there till they are able to, open their eyes. And all of this is important. And sometimes we have miraculous kinds of visions, which we can then call and check. Yes, this actually was happening at the other side of the world, and why. And that's how I realized that the sacred is so much more than we really imagine it to be. And I think the most important thing, if I had to say it in a word, it's our own feeling. How do you know that you're in a sacred space? You just feel it. And there are no words that can describe it. What do you feel?
Yeah, and it's also, it has to do with love, because you have to be in this, you have to connect yourself with your heart. Otherwise, no healer is working without his heart. I mean, that's the flame in us. That's, our healing power, and that's how we create. So I think it has a lot to do with love. What do you think?
Well, yes, I'm thinking of how both these words are words that are, again, are as difficult to define as the person themselves. So what is love,
Yeah.
And one of the things which I say is that it's not love if it's not unconditional, which means that wideness, that openness, that without thinking even of the I and the you.
Yeah.
So one of the meditations which sometimes I do, and we can do it right now with open eyes, is just that sense of that I. How do we go into the ocean of love? Because if we can go beyond words, that's when we have reached it. And how do we reach the space beyond words? By removing from ourselves the senses that we have placed upon ourselves after I say I am. In the beginning of this conversation, we were introducing ourselves and we spoke of the difficulty of doing that. And that's because within us, the soul knows that nothing can actually define who we are. These are the roles we place on ourselves. I am a name. I am a place where I was born. I am a relationship that I have with my family and friends and neighbors and country. I am the things that I have done. I am the things that I teach. But these are all the clothes that we are wearing. Just like we are wearing our clothes, we are wearing all these different roles. What if we just remove them, knowing that they are waiting for us? So we think in front of us, we visualize an ocean, and the ocean is just an ocean. We can start with thinking of it as water. And as we are stepping into that ocean, slowly we're walking towards it, we start removing all the I ams by which we define ourselves. And we say, I am not, or this is not me. And in the Upanishad and the Vedic tradition, we say it as neti, so not me. So I am not, and I would say, I am not Meenakshi. I am not a woman. I am not a human being. I am not a sister. I am not a daughter. I am not a mother. And the important thing when we say that is, how do you feel? And this is important because there was, in one of my groups, there was a person, she said, when you tell me to say, and when I said, I'm not a wife, I felt as if I'm being torn apart. And I felt that this is how she is with her husband. They feel that oneness. That oneness is such an important essence of her. And in that sacred space, because that is a sacred space, what you're feeling is not the human, oh, this is my husband, so I must never say he's not my husband. It was a very deeply felt connection. And so it's important that the guide does not tell you what you should, which of the veils you're willing to let go of. We know which veil we're ready to release and which we are not. And once you keep removing the veils, you start feeling freer and lighter and, and merged with the ocean till you are not separate even from the ocean. You become that ocean. And that is the closest that I can feel when you say the words unconditional love or even love. When you don't even say, I love you, the word is just love. You just see a person. It's like you make an eye contact with somebody across the room, and there are no needs of words. And that love is beyond gender, beyond relationship, beyond expectation. But it is a smile that comes of recognition. This is a soul that I know, I have met. I know you. you
Yes,
know
and it's shown through the eyes.
yes.
Yeah.
Have you ever had this strange experience when I rarely look at myself in the mirror, so it's very strange now that in these Zoom calls or in today's world you're always talking to people, and because you can't make eye contact, you're actually looking at yourself
Yeah.
or of course the other person, but you're seeing yourself a lot. And I remember in the mirror, when I would look at my eyes, I would get lost. So we sometimes do that meditation also. Just take a mirror and just look at your eyes. That's all. In one moment, you don't have to do any exercise. You need no other guidance. But yes, there's a guide there holding space, and with that comfort of knowing that they can bring you back, you can just get lost in that space.
Yeah, and that brings us to another subject, because when you tap into this ocean, then you tap also into your full potential. And that is our next question, how to find one's potential. What do you think?
Well, I can share the experiences that I have had. And I'll share one of the things which is related to what we've been speaking about. And I was again driving. Somehow I've had lots of fantastic experiences while driving. And just, not really going away from it, because we think of this is my body and this is the car. But when you're driving, you are in tune with one another. You become one body, because the car is doing what you are directing it to do. Just like when I'm walking, the body is doing what I'm directing it to do. Sometimes, of course, the body does what I'm not directing it to do, and I fall down. And the car also can have an accident, but that's another matter. That's a connection is not so perfect. So I was driving, and I had an experience the day before when I had seen a video of Drunvalo Melchizedek. He was speaking about some of his upcoming workshops, and each of them was on a different topic. One was on ETs, one was on indigo children, one was on going to Egypt, one was on something else. And each of those were things which I used to think are my interests. So I used to think these are all separate interests. And it was the first time I saw a video in which someone put it all together. Now my mind is thinking, it's not a very well, or it was not a very good video. So his voice was coming in and out, and he gets so moved to tears that he was almost crying when he was, he was in loving tears. And I'm saying, why is he like that? So it was not a completely perfect experience, but something in my mind connected. All the things which I thought were separate things became one thing. And that one thing, when I was driving, in one moment, I felt unconditional, and I don't know the word to put after that. I felt it was joy, love, whatever it was. I felt as if I'm on top of a mountain and everything is perfect in this world. There is nothing in this world that we need to do. And then I realized, no, now you have seen the height, you have seen what is the possibility, but you have to go back down to the base of the mountain and come up. But now that you know what's up there, you know what you have to do. So, what exactly is my purpose is clear to me in many different ways. But I feel what's important to our listeners and to one another when we share is that you just begin to understand that everything that I have done has a purpose, is always, we are all of us are always working our purpose. So once again, it's more a matter of waking up and connecting with yourself. And then you just know that everything is happening. Understand that all the different parts of you are one thing, are one part. And that one part is the soul leading you into your purpose. That's my way of answering the question. How about you, Heike? How do you find your purpose?
Well, I think to me, it was in the beginning, it was not clear. And the ones who have maybe seen the other podcasts have heard about my crisis I had in life. So my body was talking to me. I heard the call. There was something inside of me calling me to search, to dive deep, to find out, because I had not much strength. So I wanted to regain my strength, and it became my purpose. And it's for me, it's similar, because at one certain point, I could see myself. And not only see myself, I could feel myself, how it would feel to be strong again. I would be outside walking in the woods, and then a young athletic man would pass by, and he was like running, and I thought, I would love to have this strength. How would it feel to have it? So I imagined myself. And I was thinking, okay, it doesn't depend on how old you are, but that is the focus.
Yeah.
And then when you know where you want to go, like the top of the mountain, then it's willpower. And I guess it's always also a mental thing. You have to be focused. And otherwise, there are so many distractions, and you might get lost. So it's like this red thread you were talking about. And if you trust, and you feel this connection with Mother Earth and also with the universe, with spirit, God, however you name it, then you know that you are carried and nourished and that you are guided. And then you just follow. But it's not like it's not like you think, okay, that is a talent which is hiding in myself and it comes natural, and when I wake up tomorrow I have it. Because I always thought, okay, I do a class with this and then I got it. No, you have to focus. You have to find your way, your own way. It's not, you're not going the same way like somebody else does. No, it's a unique way. Everyone is going his or her way. And then it's work. It's work on your life's energy. How to brighten your life. What makes you happy? And these are little hints. And yeah, you find it in that little magic things. And when the universe is cooperative and helps you, you know you are in the right way.
You're right. You know, the philosopher J. Krishnamurti, who I heard a lot in my childhood, I was very blessed that I actually heard him under the trees. And one of the things that he used to say is the truth is a pathless land. And I think the way that you have described it, that you find your own way, you make your own way. You start, as you're walking, the way opens in front of you, you know, like how they say that the Aboriginals in Australia, they say that as you walk, the world comes into being. And which has very deep, profound meanings, you know. And I think, like you said, it's so important. How do you know that you're working your purpose? Is because you'll be happy. It's very simple. Or as we are taught that there's a smile because the creator spirit created this whole world with the smile, with a serene smile. And that serene smile is in every cell of our body. Now, we can be taught that, but it's so easy when someone asks me, what should I do? What is the choice? What I said, even when I'm I'm telling you that I'm having a class, should you come or should you not? What makes you smile? In fact, the other day when some people had asked me for a Reiki class, I gave them I gave them the fee with a vibration. You know, each has a vibration because numbers have vibrations and frequencies. I said, you choose. Which of those do you want to, calls to you? Which of those makes you smile? Your heart smile. And I know I'm speaking a little longer, Heike, but I also want to share something from what you had said about when you find your path, because I was also distressed in much of my bringing up my children years, because I was a full stay-at-home mom. The way our lives unfolded, we decided that we would do the traditional thing of the father will earn and the mother will earn by looking after the children and the family. And my parents, my father especially, used to get very upset. He said that I've educated you all, you're so bright, you've done so much, and why aren't you working? You know, why aren't you using everything that you've learned? And I said, I'm actually using everything I've learned in raising my children, because it is also it is the greatest, most difficult job for which you're not directly trained. And yet the whole world will give you lots of advice about how to bring your children. And I didn't want to, I went with completely my feeling, my thought, and whatever was my intuition, you know. But at the back of my mind, I also was always disturbed. I'm not working, I'm not doing anything. All the people around me, you know, oh, you're just a stay-at-home mom, which was not considered anything great. And then one day someone told me, Nancy Ann Tappy, who wrote the book Understand Your Life by Colors, she said that we have 3 layers of our aura which never change, which are our life colors. And one of them tells you what you about your past life. And what she told me was exactly how I had seen in a meditation once. I've been a monk over many lifetimes. Now, just like you got out of your comfort zone, I'm going out of my comfort zone and sharing this, And that's why I'm so interested in study, in reading, in learning, and, you know, but in this lifetime, whenever I've started to have, I just have a meditation circle, I keep getting pulled back into the earth. I was not very earth related, earthbound. I used to be a little bit floaty, and then when she told me that in your last life you reviewed your lives and you decided that one of the things which was missing was nurturing. And so you decided in this life that's what you would do. And so immediately I said, oh my gosh, everything in my past life makes sense to me now. I would go for an interview, and 2 times I have been told by the person, I can hire you right now. You have all the qualifications, you're very well qualified, but you do not want this job. You will not be happy in this. What you want is something very different. Can you imagine? So they could see it in me because they would ask me who, and all of it made so, and immediately I felt at ease. So that happiness sometimes is also just a feeling of ease. You have released that burden of wondering, am I doing the right thing? Yes, you are doing the right thing. Don't allow anyone in the world to tell you you're doing wrong. If you are happy, allow that. There's no better message that your own soul can give you that you're on the right path than happiness.
That's what I feel. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing this. I haven't known this story. I've heard a lot of stories because we know each other for a longer time, but I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I've shared it with a few people, but yes, I haven't shared it openly. And I know that you brought up the topic also about is it okay? How much do we share publicly? And this is the beauty of this universe. How many people will hear us? The ones who are meant to hear. The ones who are not meant to hear and are not interested are not going to listen. So, however, this is the way you can hide in plain sight, or you can shine in a cave. It doesn't matter. We find one another. Look at you, Germany, me, Miami. How did we meet? Through your child and my friend's child. I mean, look at the way. And immediately there was that sense of connection, understanding, knowing. Doesn't matter, you're German, I'm Indian, all these things. These are just boundaries. So when we do that neti, 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 it's really real. When you meet someone who you just know is a soul family, and they say we have 144 soul family with whom we are born and reborn from one life to another. We just recognize one another. It's love.
That's
unconditional.
Unconditional.
It has nothing that it wants. And I learn from you and you learn from me. This is so beautiful. This is so beautiful. And we are actually relearning. Don't you feel that? Everything that I learn, I say, oh yeah, I knew this. But I needed to remember.
We mirror and we give impulses to remember. Yeah, it's wonderful. Yeah, I feel the same.
Yeah. And that's why I have so much respect for the people who come to me as students. Because it is a role that you're playing. It is a role I'm playing of teacher, and you're playing of student. By you, I mean anybody. And the same way when there's a healer and a healee or a client, it's just another excuse for two souls to meet. It doesn't really matter. There's no hierarchy here. And we know, like you were mentioning healing, that healing is not something that one person gives another. It's just something that we flow from one to the other, and that comes from the sacred, that comes from the divine space where we know where we are one, you know?
And which is also in us, in our heart, the sparkle. Yeah. And I remember that time, when I was in Florida the first time, I guess,
Yeah.
and you told me, Heike, you know what? One time I'm your teacher, and the next time you are my teacher.
I said it.
I still remember that. And at that time, I was like, wow, Meenakshi knows so much. And I was about like, keep it in mind. Don't forget anything. And I was like, also, like with meditation, I have the same, my students, when they come over to learn about Qigong, and sometimes they tell me they fall asleep or they forget what I'm talking. And I said, now I don't remember it anymore. And I told them, well, I had the same problem in the beginning with my shamanic training or other teachers. And then I recognized I just told my subconscious, now it's your turn.
Yes. Yes.
I shut up,
Yes.
and I settle my mind in the body to connect. And then everything is flowing inside of me, what I need. And what I don't need and doesn't serve me stays out.
Exactly. When you were saying, that's what I was thinking. I mean, who goes to sleep? It is your awake brain, the part of your brain, but actually, your entire brain never goes off to sleep. It's always working. So it's almost like a hypnosis when the inside you wakes up and is listening. So it bypasses that part of our brain that is always judging, checking, evaluating, trying to understand, but not understanding anything. Because like when I went into the world of the dictionaries to try to understand, okay, let me see, we're talking of sacred, what is sacred? But none of it made any sense. Because
Yeah.
we use the word, and that's why I'm so happy you brought it into this conversation. But actually, what is it? And in the same way, I was thinking, when we were talking about creating sacred space for one another, why does it get created? Is because immediately that connection is there. We have connected in a way which is, imagine the sense of comfort and the sense of confidence and safety a person feels, like how
Yeah.
we are feeling right now, sharing deep things about ourselves. And I always say, I know I'm going on a segue, that what is hiding is so much light, is so much wonder. The secrets that people have are actually amazing and wonderful. And they are shy to say them just because when you say your brain may be awake and say, oh, how can it be? And stuff like that. Whereas when you're in sacred space and your heart is open, and when the heart opens, the aura opens. Then we are just there. There's not even any thought of safety or danger, because we just feel in that safe, sacred, nurturing space where we know that we are going to listen to the words of the highest truth that we can hold at that moment. And maybe that's what sacred space is.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it's important. You also ask, why do we do it for a higher self? And how does it benefit all on earth? I think this is important. I'd like your feeling on that, Heike. What we are doing, how does it benefit all?
Yeah. And I guess that's the purpose of all of us, to recognize this. And it's not to earn money or to make your business working or whatever. No, it's a higher purpose. And I think we come here, we are earth keepers, and yeah, that we can be thankful to be here, to have this experience, because we are on one side, we are one, the oneness feeling, but on the other hand, we are also here on earth to have our experience and to fill up all the roles we have been talking about, yeah. And but it's good that we are able to switch, because sometimes we forget. We forget where we came from. We forget what it's inside of us. Even some people are not able to sense anymore, to feel anymore. They have like a wall around their heart, you know. And I think it's only we're here. Well, I don't know why I'm here. I just move on. I have to earn money to do this and this. And at one time in my life, I retire, and maybe then I have a nice time a little bit, but maybe I'm getting old and sick. That's not the purpose. I think um, contemplating on it. Why are we here? And also, you asked me also about artificial intelligence one time. And I think, if I may step into it, we don't understand even the body intelligence, the natural intelligence, because it's not our mind telling the body what to do, how to beat the heart, how to digest and everything. You know, it's doing all of it by itself. And we even have lost the connection. It's like it's like a gap. And we are I sensed this at the time, you know, when I got sick. I was young, 30 years old, and then my body was not doing what I want him to do. We were talking about that. Do you remember in the beginning? And I felt betrayed. I thought, I'm 30.
Hmm. Yeah.
I should be in the middle of my life, blossoming,
Mm.
full of power and everything. And I was angry at my body, and I was like, you have to do this, you know, that was impossible for me being sick for such a long time. And I really felt like 90. And so I started to think about it, to think about the life. What is life? What does it mean? And also about the intelligence of my own body. And then I understood, okay, I'm using mostly just my small part of brain like a little computer. And it's telling me only that what I got to know from school, from my parents, from my surroundings, what I read, you know. But that's just a part of it.
Mm.
And there must be more. And I thought, okay, how can I open up to get other ideas? And I was always like, I wanted to be like these philosophers and these Indian monks, and they got so much wisdom, you know. And I said, they came to life like this. And then I understood, okay, no, I have to understand myself and to find out myself. Because otherwise, if I listen to wonderful sentences, wonderful stories, then it's just in my mind. It's not in my body, and it's not, it's like you're telling yourself an affirmation. I'm pretty, and you look at your mirror, but you don't feel it. Then you can tell it 100 times, it doesn't work. You have to feel it inside. And you have, like you told before, you have to look at your eyes, look inside. Because it's not only your body or this physical body, there is more.
Yeah.
You know,
True.
and coming
Yeah.
back to the beginning is we have to get to know how we can talk to our bodies, how we can bring all these different bodies, the emotional body, the mental body, and the physical body, to one whole body again. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think that's beautiful. And I think this is a beautiful time to say what each of us has taken from our conversation. And actually, to invite the listeners, I would love to know what our listeners have taken from our conversation. Because what I took from is everything related to sacred space. I feel that sacred space is what we shared is a feeling. It's a feeling when you're so much at ease and comfort and serenity and the feeling that I feel that is what defines love, and that's what defines sacred. And we shared that there are ways in which you can reach it with guided meditations, with techniques. And there are ways in which we can understand that we have felt it. And then when we feel that, when we feel we are in a sacred space, that helps us to walk our path with a sense of purpose and understand that our purpose is always benefiting everything and everyone on earth. That's what I took away. What did you take away from our conversation, Heike?
Well, to me, it's always what co-creation is. It is a learning together. It's widening our brains, our mind, our bodies, and it makes me humble on one side and so thankful. And what just came into my mind is, we could talk to each other, if we don't have the people listening to our talks and commenting on it, so it's, you know, an exchange, there is something missing.
Beautiful.
We need this. We need to have these conversations and to spread the word. And yes, I love to create together, and I love to create a sacred space where everybody is able to open up, to feel safe, and to find the way, the personal way.
That's so beautiful. Thank you so much, Heike, for sharing it this way. And I'm inviting people once again, as we are coming to the end of this podcast, please do tell us how you feel. This is so important, to speak your words, to understand, to give your answers, to ask your questions, to give us suggestions, what kind of conversations you would like to have. And also, we invite you to come as a podcast guest and have a conversation with one of us. That would be so wonderful. So thank you. Remember to please follow this podcast, whether you're watching it on YouTube or you're listening on Spotify or Apple or anywhere where you listen to your podcasts. And yes, please do keep coming and listening again to our next podcast. We had a beautiful one on miracles last week, which is going to be shown in the coming Friday. And then there'll be many more coming up. Thank you so much for this conversation, Heike, and everyone who's listened.